Hello. My name is Jackie and welcome back to my channel. Today I am I'm doing an apartment renovation in San Myshuno. We are in the Arts District and I am renovating actually Salim Benali's apartment. He is a character that came with the City Living Pack and he lives in this little apartment over here in the Arts District. And so I definitely kept him in mind when I was building. I wanted it to still be able to be his apartment, but I changed it into a studio, and I wanted to change up his storyline a little bit. So Salim Benali, his description, I don't have it written down or anything, so it's not word for word, but he is basically an aspiring author who is obsessed with reading, and he hasn't really made it yet. Like, he's not very far in the author career track. One of his traits are lazy, so he doesn't work very hard, basically, but it's his dream to become an author. So I had that in mind, but I kind of changed it up a little. So I wanted him instead to be an artist, but more of a traditional artist, like painter, and stuff like that. And he really loves, just more like fine arts. And so you'll see I add like a bunch of canvases everywhere, and I also put like this little pottery station, which I know you can't really do much with that, but you'll see what I mean in a moment. I use that like lump of clay to make this little pottery section, which I thought was really fun. But I also, to add another spin to his story, I wanted to make him a single dad. So not only is he like this struggling artist, but he also has a kid that he needs to take care of. And so, yeah, it could be, either a girl or a boy in mind, but I made room in this apartment for a kid to also live here with him. And yes, it is still a studio. So there was a challenge with that, right? But basically I wanted to give the area where the bedroom is to be where his kid stays, and he actually has to sleep in the living room. So there's a blow-up mattress that I put in there to kind of be where he sleeps at night. And I actually felt really bad about this. I almost honestly didn't post this video because I felt really bad about like not giving him his own bedroom. But then I thought, like, you know what? This is realistic for some families, and even though he doesn't have a nice big apartment, he's still making it work, and that's just what life is for them, and it's working and it's totally fine. So you'll see in this video, I really wanted to, it is kind of a run-down apartment, so it's not like super nice, and I used older appliances and like kind of the grungy carpet and stuff like that, but it's also really lived in, and it's not like, totally filthy and stuff. It's just cluttered and messy, and that's just how they're living right now. And I really liked adding that to the storyline because it is really different from what I usually do, because I do normally do like like nice hardwood and making everything look very nice and put together, and so I wanted to go a different route. I really liked using these different floorings that I don't normally use. This linoleum here in the entryway reminds me so much of linoleum that we had in my own house growing up. So that was really I just really liked using that because it's super nostalgic. I feel like everyone had this flooring growing up. And this carpet was really fun too, because I really love how it's super walked on and weathered and a little bit dirty, because again, Salim Benali is lazy, so he probably doesn't clean up his carpets and stuff very much, and he doesn't really care to. He has other things to do. He has art and like paintings and all that stuff to do instead. And yeah, so I thought that was funny. And the apartment is it's not called a fixer-upper in the game. It's called like a needs work or needs improvement or something like that. So there are those little holes and pipes around where the pipes get leaky, and there's rats and cockroaches and stuff. So it's kind of dingy. But I actually really like those kind of traits in these apartments in the game, because it changes things up, right? I feel like the game can kind of get like very repetitive. So anywhere where there's like a little bit of flair or different challenges in the game, I personally really like that, because it makes it, again, not repetitive and adds just substance to the game. So, and now here I am in the living room, and I am just cluttering things up. I'm adding stuff to this little bookshelf, or it's not really a bookshelf, it's just a shelf that I sized down so that I can make it this little TV console, because I couldn't really fit too much in that spot, because if you put stuff in front of that little breaker box thing, your sim can't go over to it when they need to fix it. Because that's one of the things that breaks down in this like fixer-upper lot. So yeah, here I am about to put down his air mattress. I don't know why I feel so guilty about it, but whatever, he's making things work. And I place all of his art supplies over here. I kind of imagine that the space where his kid is going to have his little room area, it used to be his art studio, because maybe he didn't always have his kid staying with him. But once his kid moved in, he had to move everything out of his art studio and into the living room. So that's why everything's kind of like scattered around in here. And here is that little like that pottery looking station that I made, which I really liked that. Yeah, and then I also added room in here for a cat. So there is the food bowl, and in the bathroom, I'm obviously going to add the litter box, because, you know, even though the space is small, I just figured that there's a lot of love in this house, you know, like they have a cat, they have each other, and yeah, so I wanted to feel like a fun, full, tiny home. Yeah, I guess you could also put a dog in here, but I wasn't really thinking of dogs, just because I just don't really like playing with dogs in city living. I love dogs in real life, but in this pack, or in the apartments, if your dog wants to go out to use the bathroom, your sim has to go outside with them. And like if they live in a normal house in the game, they will just go outside on their own. But in this one, you have to go out with them every single time. And I just think that's annoying. But yeah, here I am in the kids' room, and yeah, I really liked using the space into like a converted bedroom, but it is open, and not technically a bedroom, which is still considered a studio. I used to work in property management, and when you think of a studio, you think of like one big room, right? But that's not how all studios look. A lot of times they have like, you know, very separated spaces that you can make into whatever you want, but still open so that your space feels bigger. And so that's why in this case, I imagined that this space was normally intended to be his art studio, but then once his kid moved in, he kind of, you know, made it their own space so that they had privacy, and he if you notice, there's like a lot of newer looking items in the kids' room, just because I imagine that, you know, whatever money he does make really goes to his kids so that he can give as much as he can, and so that his kid lives the best life that he can give. But yeah, that is about it for this speed build. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!